Let me ask you something deeply personal right now. Think about the last time you saw that one person. Maybe it was across a crowded room. Maybe it was during an ordinary Tuesday afternoon when nothing special was supposed to happen. And suddenly, without any warning, your chest tightened. Your palms went a little damp. Your brain, which moments before had been casually managing your breathing, your thoughts, your entire existence without any effort at all, suddenly forgot how to do the simplest things. You stumbled over your words. You smiled too wide. You replayed a 30-second conversation approximately 400 times before you went to sleep that night. And here is what is truly fascinating about that moment. You probably called it magic. You probably told your friends, "I don't know what it is. There's just something about them." You wrote it off as fate or chemistry or some invisible, unexplainable force that chose you specifically and decided today was the day your life was going to change. But what if I told you that magic has a mechanism? What if I told you that every single flutter in your stomach, every sleepless night, every irrational decision you have ever made in the name of love, all of it, is happening because of specific, measurable, deeply fascinating processes inside your brain? Processes that scientists have been studying for decades and are only now beginning to truly understand. Because here is the truth that nobody tells you when you are falling in love. Your brain, in that moment, is doing something extraordinary. It is flooding itself with chemicals it normally guards very carefully. It is rewiring neural pathways that took years to build. It is, in the most literal and scientific sense of the word, changing. And once you understand what is actually happening inside your head when you fall in love, you will never think about relationships, attraction, or human connection the same way again. So let us talk about it. All of it. The science, the psychology, the biology, and the beautiful, complicated, sometimes overwhelming truth of what it really means to fall in love. Attraction and the brain's reward system. Everything begins before you even realize it is beginning. Long before you have had a single meaningful conversation with someone, long before you know their last name or their favorite movie or how they take their coffee, your brain has already started making decisions. Your subconscious mind is processing thousands of tiny signals simultaneously. The way someone moves, the symmetry of their face, the sound of their laugh, even subtle chemical signals called pheromones that your nose detects without ever consciously registering. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania conducted studies in the early 2000s that demonstrated just how quickly the brain makes attraction-based assessments. Participants in speed dating events were making decisions about romantic interest in as little as 3 seconds. 3 seconds, not 3 minutes. Not 3 conversations, 3 seconds. Your brain is remarkably efficient at this, and the reason it works so fast comes down to a structure deep inside your head called the limbic system, your emotional brain. This ancient part of your neural architecture, which humans share with virtually every mammal on the planet, is constantly scanning your environment for threats, opportunities, and potential mates. It does not wait for your rational, logical prefrontal cortex to catch up. It acts, and then it lets the rest of your brain figure out an explanation afterward. This is why attraction often feels like it comes out of nowhere. It does not come from your thinking brain. It comes from something much older, much faster, and much less concerned with logic. The chemical cascade: dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. Now, once that initial spark of attraction fires, your brain does something truly remarkable. It initiates what scientists sometimes call the chemical cascade of love, a flood of neurotransmitters and hormones that begin reshaping your internal world almost immediately. The first and most powerful player in this process is dopamine. Dopamine is your brain's primary reward chemical. It is the same substance that activates when you eat something delicious, when you achieve a goal, when you hear your favorite song come on unexpectedly. It is fundamentally tied to pleasure, motivation, and the desire to seek more of whatever just made you feel good. When you fall in love, your brain begins producing dopamine in quantities that are genuinely comparable to what happens during cocaine use. I want you to sit with that comparison for a moment, because it is not meant to be shocking for shock's sake. It is meant to help you understand why love makes people do irrational things, why otherwise sensible, grounded individuals suddenly start making decisions that make absolutely no logical sense to anyone watching from the outside. Your brain, quite literally, is in a state that resembles chemical addiction. Studies conducted by Dr. Helen Fisher, an anthropologist and leading researcher in the neuroscience of love at Rutgers University, used functional MRI machines to scan the brains of people who described themselves as deeply, recently in love. What she and her team found was that when these participants simply looked at a photograph of their romantic partner, the ventral tegmental area of their brain, the primary dopamine production center, lit up with extraordinary intensity. The same region associated with craving, motivation, and reward-seeking behavior. You are not imagining how good love feels. Your brain is manufacturing that feeling with the same machinery it uses for its most powerful reward experiences. But dopamine is only one part of the story. Working alongside it is norepinephrine, a chemical that is responsible for that heart-racing, breathless, hyper-alert feeling you get around someone you are attracted to. Norepinephrine is essentially your body's excitement switch. It sharpens your focus, elevates your heart rate, and triggers that slightly anxious, electric energy that makes new love feel simultaneously thrilling and terrifying. And then there is serotonin, or rather, the curious absence of it. Multiple studies, including groundbreaking research published in the journal Psychological Medicine, found that people in the early stages of falling in love showed serotonin levels remarkably similar to those observed in individuals diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder. Serotonin levels drop. And when serotonin drops, the brain's ability to think about anything other than its fixation, in this case, the person you are falling for, becomes severely compromised. This is the neuroscience behind why you cannot stop thinking about them, why you check your phone every 4 minutes hoping for a message, why your mind drifts to thoughts of them during meetings, during meals, during moments when you should absolutely be concentrating on something else entirely. It is not weakness, it is chemistry. The 3 stages of love: lust, attraction, and attachment. Dr. Helen Fisher and her colleagues proposed a framework that has become one of the most widely referenced models in love psychology. According to their research, romantic love can be understood through 3 distinct but overlapping stages: lust, attraction, and attachment. Each stage is driven by different chemicals and serves a different evolutionary purpose. The second stage, attraction, which we have already explored in some depth, is the phase most people recognize as falling in love. This is when dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin are doing their most dramatic work. This is the phase characterized by obsessive thinking, elevated energy, reduced appetite, and that persistent, overwhelming sense that this specific person is extraordinary in a way that defies rational explanation. Interestingly, research suggests that this phase has a biological time limit. The intense neurochemical cocktail of early attraction typically begins to stabilize somewhere between approximately 18 months and 3 years into a relationship. This is not a romantic notion, but it is a profoundly important one. Understanding that the intoxicating intensity of new love is designed by nature to be temporary can help people approach long-term relationships with more realistic and ultimately more sustainable expectations. The third stage, attachment, is where the chemistry shifts considerably. 2 hormones become the primary architects of long-term bonding: oxytocin and vasopressin. Oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, or sometimes the love hormone in popular writing, is released during physical touch, sexual intimacy, eye contact, and even meaningful conversation. It is the chemical that makes you feel safe with someone, comfortable, like you can exhale fully for the first time in a long while. Oxytocin is what transforms the electric urgency of early love into something quieter, deeper, and ultimately more sustaining. Vasopressin, meanwhile, has been linked in animal studies, particularly fascinating research on prairie voles, which are among the small number of naturally monogamous mammals, to long-term pair bonding and mate guarding behavior. When vasopressin receptors in the brain are active and functioning well, animals and humans alike demonstrate significantly stronger tendencies toward commitment and protective behavior toward their partners. Love and the prefrontal cortex. Why love makes us less rational. Here is something that might genuinely surprise you. When you are in love, particularly in those early, overwhelming stages, a very specific and very important part of your brain essentially goes offline. The prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for critical thinking, rational decision-making, risk assessment, and sound judgment, shows significantly reduced activity in people who are newly in love. This phenomenon was documented in neuroimaging studies conducted in the 2000s and has since been replicated and expanded upon by researchers around the world. What this means in practical terms is that the human brain, when experiencing romantic love, is measurably less capable of critical evaluation. You are less likely to notice red flags, less likely to assess a potential partner objectively, less likely to listen to the concerns of people who care about you and are watching from a rational distance. This is not a character flaw. This is neuroscience. Your brain has, in a very real sense, prioritized the pursuit of this connection above its own capacity for logical thinking. From an evolutionary standpoint, this makes a certain kind of sense. Overthinking and overanalyzing potential mates would slow the process down in ways that might have been disadvantageous for early humans navigating a much more dangerous world. But it does mean that the advice to listen to your heart, not your head, when it comes to love, is, from a neuroscientific perspective, somewhat redundant. In early love, your head is already listening to your heart, whether it wants to or not. The psychology of why we fall for who we fall for. Now we come to perhaps the most psychologically rich question of all. Why that person? Out of every human being in the world, why does your brain and body respond to this particular individual in this particular way? Psychologists and researchers have proposed several compelling theories. The first involves what is sometimes called the attachment theory framework, originally developed by British psychologist John Bowlby in the mid-20th century and later expanded by researchers including Mary Ainsworth. According to this model, the attachment patterns we developed in our earliest childhood relationships, primarily with parents or caregivers, create a kind of internal working model for how we expect relationships to function. We then unconsciously seek out partners who in some fundamental way fit within that model. This is why people sometimes find themselves attracted to the same type of person repeatedly, even when consciously they are trying to make different choices. The second theory involves similarity and familiarity. Psychological research consistently demonstrates that people tend to be attracted to those who share their values, backgrounds, interests, and communication styles. We are drawn to what feels familiar because familiarity signals safety to the brain. And the third, perhaps most counterintuitively compelling theory, is that we are sometimes specifically attracted to people who complement our psychological gaps, who seem to offer something we feel we lack within ourselves. Someone who is highly structured might find themselves powerfully drawn to someone spontaneous and free-spirited. Someone who struggles to express emotion might feel inexplicably magnetized by someone whose emotional expressiveness seems almost like a superpower. Love, in this sense, is partly a story your brain is telling about who you want to become, bringing it all together. So where does all of this leave us? After the dopamine and the norepinephrine, after the reduced serotonin and the quieted prefrontal cortex, after the oxytocin and the attachment patterns shaped in childhood, after all of the science and all of the psychology, what does it mean? I think it means this: falling in love is not less beautiful because we can explain it. It is more beautiful because what you are experiencing when you fall in love is not a trick your emotions are playing on you. It is your brain, this extraordinary 3-pound universe inside your skull, doing one of the most complex and magnificent things it is capable of doing. It is rewiring itself for connection. It is manufacturing meaning. It is reaching across the impossible gap between two separate human consciousnesses and finding, in the chemistry and the neurology and the psychology, a bridge. You fell in love and your brain changed, not metaphorically, literally. The neural pathways are different now. The chemistry has shifted. You are, in a measurable and demonstrable sense, not quite the same person you were before. And maybe that is the most remarkable thing science has ever confirmed about human beings. And maybe that is the most remarkable thing science has ever confirmed about human beings. That we are built for this. That we are wired, from the deepest and most ancient structures of our brain all the way to the most recent and sophisticated, to reach toward each other,